Good morning. Hello everyone. How are you this morning? Thanks for joining me this morning for Saturday's stamping. Okay, let me see who's joining us this morning. Who have we got here? How have you all been? How's the second week of stage 4 lockdown for those of you that are in Melbourne, Victoria in Australia? Second week of stage 4 lockdown. We've survived another week and the numbers look like they're going down, so that's always a good thing. Okay, can't see anyone in there with me yet. Is anybody actually joining me this morning? Oh, hi Roz, how you going? Thanks for joining me this morning. How's your week been? Hi Sue. Let me just see if I can get my comments up here. Everybody had a good week? What's everybody been up to? Yes, I am feeling better, thanks Roz. Not 100% yet, but definitely on the improve, and yeah, definitely way better than I was last week. Oh, Carol, hi, how you going? A rush for you. You've been Zumbaing, is that right, this morning? Hi Sue, how you going? Thanks for joining me, Sue. I've got two Sues on this morning. Oh, and Marg. Hi Marg, how you going? Thanks for joining in. How have you been going during lockdown? Look at my video. It's a bit just wondering, it's a bit out of focus this morning. Oh, you've been working, Carol, not Zumbaing. Hi Mel. Don't know, I'm trying to see if I can get that to focus a little bit better. It looks okay when I look through my camera, but when I see it on the live, it looks like it's a bit blurry. Anyway, we'll just give it another minute or two to see who else joins us, and then we're going to get started. You're doing some photo books, Roz. It's a good way to fill the weekend. Hi Deb, how you going? Oh, looks like we've got a few on already. So I might get started. So for those of you who haven't joined me before, my name's Michelle Greck from Think Out Loud Paper Crafting. Coming to you from the southeast suburbs of Melbourne in Australia. Oh, hi Michelle. So today we're going to be looking at the In the Pines bundle. So one of the new bundles from the new holiday mini, or the August to December mini as it's now known, but I still just keep calling it the holiday mini because frankly it's easier. It's easier than that long title, and it really does feature mostly stamps and embellishments and papers and things that relate to the holiday season. So we're going to be looking at the In the Pines bundle, as I said. So this is the stamp set here. So it's got a whole lot of different trees, some really beautiful trees. It's also got a couple of sentiments. And what I like about this is it's actually got, not only does it have a Christmas sentiment, so the season's greetings, but it also has the thinking of you, which means it's a great set for all year round. It doesn't necessarily have to be just for Christmas. And in my opinion, you can never have enough trees. So that's the stamp set. And with that, we have dies, which are called Pine Woods. And I'll just open those up for you to have a look. So as you can see, we've got lots of trees. Let me just turn that around. Lots of different trees that will cut out our stamped images. And we've also got some of these long dies here that will actually do scenery for you. So like you'll be able to cut a curve or a hill, to actually add some feature to your cards with your tree. So you can poke your trees in behind those and get yourself a nice looking scene. So while I've got this open, we're just going to be using a couple of the trees today. So I'll take out the ones that we're going to be using while I've got this open. Okay, let me just pop that away now. And then last of all, in this, oh hi Linda from Mount Isa, how you going? is the embossing folder. Now, my first go round on this catalogue, I actually missed this folder completely. So if you're looking for it, it's actually on page 42 of the catalogue, I think. Actually, no, it's on page 35, sorry. And it's not actually on the same page as in the Pines bundle. And I actually sort of missed it. I don't know that the picture in the catalogue really does it justice, but my goodness, is this just a beautiful embossing folder. So we're actually going to be featuring this today. So we're actually not going to be stamping with the stamps. I'm actually going to be featuring the embossing folder, and I just love it. It's absolutely fantastic. So for those who know me well, you'll know that I love embossing folders, and this one, I don't know if you can see it, but those trees are just fantastic. So we're going to be using that today. All right, so let's get started on our card. I'm actually not going to show you the card today until we're finished, so it'll be a surprise. So for those of you who haven't joined me before, if you please comment or give me a like or share my my video live so that other people can get to join me as well on a Saturday morning. And I'll be drawing a winner for the card that we make today at the end of today's video. And yes, I know I still haven't drawn last week's, forgive me. I will do that this afternoon as well. So look out on my page for the winners of last week's card and this week's card. So let me bring in our supplies. So we're just going to be using minimal supplies today. So just our card base is just thick Whisper White in the normal dimensions. So half an A4 piece of card scored in half at 10.5. Excuse me while I just grab some water. My throat's still a little bit dodgy, so well, excuse me, I don't want to have a coughing fit. And we have we're going to be using the Blushing Bride, and that's really just to cut out some trees, some more Whisper White for our stamping. But we're also going to be using the Feels Like Frost DSP, which you can find on page 42 of your catalogue. Now, for those of you who you already have that embossing folder on your list. Good on you, Sue. You'll love it. This DSP is actually a returning favourite from last year. So this was around last year, this paper, and it has some of these beautiful, I suppose you call them photographic images of winter scenes, which are just really, really beautiful. There's so many of them in all different colours. And there's also some sort of like this one and a couple of other ones, maybe, where is it? This one, which don't necessarily have to be for Christmas. And of course, on the reverse, you have a lot of silver foil type designs, which, you have a striped one there that could be used any time of the year. So today we're actually going to be using this one here, which when you see what I did with it, you'll understand why I've chosen that one. So first up, I'm actually going to cut this down to the size that I need. I'm actually going to be cutting it down to the size of my card front. So let me just bring in my trimmer. And the reason I'm doing that is I actually didn't want to lose too much of the design, so I want it to cover the whole of my card front. So I'm actually just going to trim a tiny little bit off the top here. I don't know if you can see that, just because I want to get as much of these trees as I can onto the front of my card. Ooh, and that's my scoring blade, not my cutting blade. Rookie mistake there. So I'm going to be cutting it down to 10.5. So just, you can use that strip there for something else. And the 14.85 or 14.9, depending on how precise you are. So So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to emboss that using my embossing folder. So I'm going to, let me just bring in my embossing machine and look at this. Ta-da! I know this is probably a bit close to the camera, but I can't actually zoom out, so you'll just have to see it up close. So this is Stampin' Up's new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I just love it. It came this week, and I actually just can't stop using it. I've been cutting things and embossing things just because I want to use my new machine. So it is so pretty, and I'm glad that it's in white. I didn't think I would ever be talking about an embossing machine in such endearing terms, being pretty. And so Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine it's called. It's quite a long title, and I actually think that I might want to give it a name, but so if anybody's got any suggestions about what I could call it, so I don't have to keep calling it the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, that'd be really handy. So I was in another group yesterday that were talking about giving it a name, and that was a group I think that had a lot of US demonstrators in it, and they were talking about things like calling it Dewey the die cut machine. But if anyone else can come up with a title, that would actually be fabulous. So a good name for my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Anyway, so let's get back on. I'm deviating now and just waffling. So we're actually going to fold. You can see it actually, the platform folds out. So that's actually really fantastic for storage. So if you haven't got a lot of room on your desk, then it's a really good way of actually being able to fold it up and give yourself some more room. There is Buddy the die cut machine. That's not a bad one, Carol. I like that. Yeah, so folds out, our platform folds out. Just let me get the plates, which, I don't know, we might be a really close up. Let me just move this out of the way for a minute so that I can show you the plates. Plates, you get everything that you need in the with the embossing machine when you buy it. But what I love about the plates is, I don't know if you can see that here, they're numbered. So all your plates are numbered. 2, 3 on your regular cutting plates and 4 on your embossing plate. Hi Sonia, how are you going? So there's just no mistaking what sandwich you need when you're actually running something through your machine. And of course on your base plate, there are all your sandwiches here are listed. So no guessing, no working with shim, what do I need? It tells you exactly what you need there. So, all right, so we're going to be doing embossing with a 3D embossing folder. So that tells us down here that we need plate 1 and plate 4. So we've got plate 1 and this is plate 4. Now if you had the old machine, if you've got the old Big Shot and you bought the blue plate for doing embossing with 3D folders or the embossing with other folders, it's interchangeable with this plate here, okay? So let me just do our embossing. Where's my paper? So I'm actually just going to, I don't know whether you can see this, I'm going to pop my paper. You'll notice that this folder, the actual design is actually sideways on the folder. So you're going to be putting it through this way with your hinge at the top, but you're actually going to be setting up your paper inside the folder on sideways. So I'm actually going to just pop that in there, and I actually want to get the trees towards the top of my design. I'll pop that through there. Pop in my number 1 plate. And the other thing about it is it just runs through so smoothly. There's just, I mean, my other machine was very old too, so, but I just love it. So let me just wind it through. And I'm going to pop that out. And I don't know if you can see there, but how it's beautifully embossed, that paper, right over the top of the trees. And I think it's just really, really beautiful how you get those extra embossed images as well as the designs that are already on your paper. You can see that. So while I've got the machine out, so I don't have to bring it back in, I'm actually just going to cut our trees. So we're going to be cutting with dies. So we're going to need a 1, a 2, and our 2 3 plates. So there's our 1 plate and our 2 plate. And you can see I've already been cutting on mine. I don't know if you can see that, but they were so pretty when they first arrived. Brand new plates. Don't you love brand new plates? And now I'm going to be cutting trees on my Blushing Bride. And first of all, I'm going to be cutting out, I'll just show you, I've already cut one earlier, this tree here. Sorry for the coughing. Yes, I know embossing on pattern paper, it can really change your paper, Sue. So we're going to be cutting that tree first. So let me just pop that on here. And for those of you who've crafted with me before, you know that I like to, when I've got really thin dies, I like to actually layer them a couple of times, cut them out and lay them a couple of times together so that they're sort of a bit easier and thicker to work with on my card. Just let me get rid of that leftover stuff. So let me just, I'm actually going to move the emboss machine off to the side just because it's taking up too much room there under the camera. Now let me just get out those stray bits rather than poking them out. It's just quicker to, and look how beautiful is that. Like even that just on its own, you know, you could cut that a square or an oval around that. It's so pretty. But what I'm actually going to do now is I'm actually going to use this other die here, and I'm just going to position that right around the edge, and it's actually then going to cut that beautiful lacy tree out. Now I'd advise when you're running that through, because at the moment there's not a magnetic plate. There will be one available. It's just not here yet. So hopefully next month when the new machine goes live to customers, then you will be able to get the magnetic plate. But at the moment I've just using the non-magnetic plate, the one that comes with it. So I'd suggest that you tape that down so that it doesn't move, because you want it to cut exact. So just give me a minute while I go to the side and cut that. Oh, actually I don't need to because I cut one earlier, didn't I? So that's, and then I'm just going to cut another tree from, I can't even pick this up. Come here, die. Oops. Put that die to the front. Is I'm going to cut using the other die, and I'm just going to cut that out of Whisper White. And while I'm doing that, I'm just actually also, I've actually brought in the snow globe scenes from last year. This is another returning die from last year, and I just actually want to use the deer out of this one, so I'm going to cut that as well while I'm there. Excuse me while I just work off to the side for a minute. Okay, so let me just bring that in, get that off the plate. Yeah, you definitely need to have this die set. Sonia. It's really, really beautiful. The trees in this are just so lovely. So let me just get my, I'm going to just poke that last one out with my pokey tool and get my can you hear that beeping? That's telling me my washing's finished. Wonder if someone else in the house will hang it out. Probably not. Probably be there for me when I'm finished. Okay, so they're the 3 die elements that I'm actually going to be using today, and of course my embossed paper. So let me just sit back down on my chair, wheel it in. Hopefully I don't wheel myself off. Okay, here we go. So now we're just going to put our card together, and you'll see there's other than the die cutting and the embossing, there's not a lot in today's card. So I'm just going to bring in my paper here. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. Just make sure it's wound on enough for me to... And the trick with this is to just give it that bit of a lift at the end. Sort of kick it up, like straight up, so that it finishes right where you want it to start again next, so you don't have to wind it on. Occasionally you will have to give it a little bit of a wind on, but I've found that if you do that, you will see that one. I actually just need to wind it on just a little bit to get it started again. Lift it up and break it off. There you go, it's been a bit stubborn this morning. Wind it on and break it off. And the reason I'm using the Stampin' Seal is because it is super, super sticky, and because this has been embossed, I really want it to stick tight, and I just found it works better with that than it does with the liquid glue like the Tombow I normally would use. So there you go, there's my card front. Now I'm just going to attach my trees, and I'm going to do that with some liquid glue, a bit of it on my silicone mat. So these are the trees. Now you'll know that, like I said earlier, I actually cut a few of these out earlier, and I've layered 3 of them together there, just so it gives it a bit more dimension. And I just find it a bit easier to work with when it's like that. So all over the back. Then I'm just going to bring that in. I'm just going to pop that here on my card. Just stick it straight down. Okay, and for my for this white tree, I'm actually just going to use a couple of the mini dimensionals. And I only just used a couple because it is hard to find a spot that you can actually fit them in. There's one spot that will actually fit a whole one, and then what I did was just, no, they're my ribbon scissors, is I just trimmed down a tiny little bit of the edge, did a couple of them, just pick that up there. And one of those will fit down here on the trunk if you're really, really careful. It doesn't need too much on it to make it stick, and actually I just found that you can probably fit that one in here maybe. And then you just take your backs off. And I'm just going to position this one just down a little bit from the other tree. Just give those a good press. They won't come off even though they've only got the two minis on there. So now I'm going to bring in the deer that I cut before. And I'm just going to snip that little bit off the bottom there. Got something on my scissors there. because I just want the deer. I don't want. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to colour him with one of my blendies. So I've got the light grey granite. Now I could have cut him out of grey granite cardstock, but I actually like this bit softer look that the blend gives. And I'm not going to do any shading. I just want to colour him. But you could, if you wanted to, you could come in with your dark blendy and do some shading as well, if that's your thing. But here I just was happy just to colour him with the one colour. Okay, don't know if you can see that. Don't want to break all that off. Can't really see it, but it just gives it a little bit of colour. If I put it up next to white, you can actually see the difference there. Just a little bit of shading. So now I'm not actually going to pop him on dimensionals. I'm just going to use a bit of liquid glue on the back. Just going to pop that, bring him up with my tweezers so I don't get glue all over me. And I'm just going to pop the deer just slightly behind that tree there. Stick him down. So I didn't want to raise it up because I didn't want him to look like he was behind the tree. So sticking it straight to the card will do that. Now for our sentiment, all I've done is I'm using the Season's Greetings here out of the set, and I've just stamped that in grey granite. So it's stamp onto a bit of Whisper White. And then, for those of you who like fussy cutting, I actually just fussy cut around it. So I just, so the trick with fussy cutting is everybody does it different, I suppose, and everybody has their own tips and tricks. But I actually really just hold my scissors. I hold my scissors still and I move the paper. So anyway, that's how I did it, and I've already done one earlier, so you don't have to watch me cut the whole lot. But what I did do is once I'd fussy cut it, I wanted it to actually have a mat behind it. So I've actually just used some Tombow to put it on some grey granite cardstock, and then I'm going to cut around that again. So for those of you who don't like fussy cutting, then this is probably torture for you. But for those of you who don't mind it, it gives you a really nice look when it's finished. If you don't like fussy cutting, you could always just, straight cut the white, the Whisper White, and then layer it onto another piece of the grey granite and just cut that with your trimmer. Or you could use layering dies if you have them. That will layer the sentiment for you. So there we go. So as you can see now, I've just got my sentiment there, if you can see that, with a matting behind it. So I'm just going to use a couple of mini dimensionals. I find it easier to pick it up with my tool there, and I'm just going to pop that across the top of my trees here. So I didn't really want to put anything over here because I just didn't want to detract from that beautiful embossing. So There we go. So there you go, there's our finished card. And I'll show you the one I made earlier, just so you can see that it's just the same. So, yeah, so that's a really great way to use your embossing folder. I hope you liked today's card. If you did, give me some love, share my video, and I will draw a winner this afternoon for this card. I don't think there's much housekeeping this week. Just remind everybody that if you earned bonus day coupons last month, you've only got till the end of this month, the 31st of August, to redeem those. So please don't let them go to waste if you earned them. And remember, if you're ordering online this month, to use the hostess code, or the host code over here. Oh, there is one other thing I wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you something else with how beautiful this embossing folder is. And this is actually just a piece of cards, the new brushed foil that I embossed with that embossing folder. I haven't actually done anything with it yet, but I just wanted to show you how beautiful it looks embossed on the foil. So this is the brushed foil. I don't know if you can see that, but it's sort of like a duller, more like a matte finish, and it's got these sort of brushed stripes through here. I don't know whether it's really hard to see actually on the video with the light shining off it. But it's I just wanted to show you how beautiful that looks, and I will be using that on a card, and you'll probably, if you follow me on my page or my blog, you'll be able to see what I do with that there. Okay, well, I hope you all have enjoyed today's card, and that you have a great weekend and a great week, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me for Saturday Stamping, and I will see you all again next week. Have a great week. Bye.